Yeah, I have given you an attendance, Imran.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you share the screen. So for your reminder that we are going to be have the first term examination of CSC 347 on the date of 23rd February. And yes, our syllabus is going to be the lecture 1 and lecture 2. So make sure that you're studying well. The next week, the same day, same time, we're going to be have the first term examination. Okay, and let me share the file with you. The list we have started the lecture number 3 yesterday, but we have said it that we are not going to be consider this chapter for our first term syllabus. Okay. Ashikujaman, do you want to say something, sir?
Oh, sorry, sir.
It's okay. Can you see the lecture number 3 on your screen? Central Processing Unit.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so how much we have completed? Plus plus.
Yes, sir. Till 7.
6.
Up to the microprocessor, I think.
I don't think so. I think we have done up to the slide number 5,
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Five, sir.
right? Yeah, so we are going to be starting from the slide number 6 today.
Yes, sir.
So we are just, last day we are trying to discussing about that the some basic things about the processors, some history of the processors, and some of components that actually available inside the processor. That also we are actually trying to discussing here. Now today we are going to be discuss about the CPU operation. Luckily that we are already understand that the instruction cycle. So we are already aware about the fetching, decoding, and executing, and and the storing. So these three things is going to become into that the CPU's operation discussions. But we are going to be do it. A bit in detailed way so that actually we understand exactly how this CPU will do that the operation with the fetch, decode, and execute steps. So that these are the three main steps that CPUs are going to be follow. Actually, this is the CPU's job, right? And the storing is not that the CPU's job. Storing is going to be that the job of the memory. Okay, so these are the three steps in the CPU does for operation with an as instruction. So that which are collectively known as the instruction cycle. So these are the three stages that is actually our goal now to discuss about. So we are going to be started with the first the fetching. Yeah, so it is telling that the fetch involves retrieving an instruction from the program memory. So we have already learned it from that instruction cycle. I hope that you can understand that. I hope that you can recall that we say that in the processor we are having the two part. One is that the ALU, and another is the CU. So this completely involves we are getting that this is the CPU, and we are having we said that we are having the RAM as a main memory or primary memory. So we say that the first stage the fetching is going to be done, right? So the CU or control unit is going to be fetch the instructions from that the RAM. So this is what it's saying that involves retrieving an instruction from program memory. So that is actually the RAM, and it's saying so that we have already also discussed that actually with an example that the instruction can be like 3 plus 5 With that example, we have actually tried to learn it that how the instructions cycle is going to be work with the instruction 3 plus 5. So yeah, that the instruction it is retrieving, that the CPU is retrieving, that can be a number or the sequence of numbers that is going to be fetched from the RAM. Okay, so now it's telling the instructions location address in program memory is determined by the program counter, which stores a number that identifies the address of the next instruction to be fetched. So here what it is trying to tell, yeah, so we have to understand that the control unit, the instructions are available into the RAM, into the different locations. They will not be, the CPU is not going to be able to fetch them all together. Okay, the control unit is going to be fetch the instruction one by one. Okay, so that is it is telling about a register that exactly we are going to be discuss here in detail. About it is talking about a register that the program counter, the PC. So this the program counter is going to be keep the next instruction address. So it's kind of a, I mean it's a kind of a register who is keeping the address. I mean who is actually always holding the address who will come next. Like if I am taking your Viva, if I'm taking serially your Viva, so that first student enter into the Viva room. So the second student is actually on the queue. Serial number 2 is actually on the queue, and next the 3, next 4, next 5. So this way a queue is there. So that means when that the one is dealing with that, I'm taking the Viva for the serial numbers 1, student serial number 1. So the PC is holding that the information that okay, when that the first serial number 1's Viva is going to be done, then who will come next? The serial number 2. So that the serial number 2 address is going to be kept by that the PC, the program counter. Where it is going to be? It is going to be inside of that the processor. Okay, so that the register is always keeping the next instruction address who is going to be executed on the CPU. So that is exactly it is said. The instruction location in the program memory is determined by the program counter, which stores a number that identifies the address of the next instruction to be fetched. So that is what I was talking about, right? Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So what is happening here? So how that the program counter is going to be do this? So I mean each instruction say that what I say that the serial number 1, 2, 3, 4 the with the students I am a Viva session I'm talking about, right? So the serially I'm going to be called my student. That is serial number 1, serial number 2, serial number 3. So how it actually program counter is keeping the address of the next instruction memory location or address. How it is doing actually. How it is going to be deal with that. It's simply just what is simply it is doing that okay from the PC I'm going to be called. I mean first serial number is 1. So PC has sent me that the serial number 1 student. So I'm doing that the discussion with that the first student who is actually having the serial number 1. So PC is what it is doing. So when I am doing that, when he has sent that the serial number 1 to me, then the PC is just simply making plus 1. Okay, so that means 1 he has sent to me, that is currently giving the Viva. So now 1 plus 1. So that next will come home 2. Get it? So I have finished the job interview with that. I mean the Viva from the serial number 1. So now he is sending the next student serial number 2. So with that the 2 he is going to be make what? What?
Serial 3, sir.
Serial 3. So 2 plus 1. So that the he is sending a student or is sending an instruction to that the CPU. So always he is marking plus 1. Do you understand that? And with the plus 1 he determines that who will come next or who is going to be what is going to be retrieved by that the CPU next. Clear? Are you listening?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now it is telling that retrieve from the, that the retrieve it is talking about. So it is talking about the instruction that is going to be fetched. The instruction that is going to be fetched, that is going to be fetched, retrieve from the relatively slow memory, causing CPU to stand or stall while waiting for the instruction to be returned. Okay, so this is what actually it is talking about, that retrieve from relatively slow memory, so that the instructions it is going to be fetched, that the CEO are going to be fetched the instructions from the RAM, it is going to be retrieve from relatively slow memory, causing the CPU to stall or stand while waiting for the instruction to be returned. So this is actually talking about that, yes, when you are considering only about that the CPU and the RAM, in the case of the uniprocessor, when you are having a single core inside of a microprocessor, and while you do not having any advanced technology, right, that like that the pipeline or cache memory, then that you are fetching from where on? You are fetching from where on? You are fetching from the RAM, the control unit of the single core processor is going to be retrieve the instructions from the RAM. So it is telling that when you are retrieving the relative instruction retrieve from relatively slow memory, causing the CPU stall or stand while waiting for the instruction to be returned. So that means CPU is doing an operation, say that the operation name is 2 and 3. So he needs to do the job, so that it is said to him that add 2 plus 3. So he needs, say that for doing this operation, he needs 1 bit information with that add 2 or 3, right? So that 1 bit, for this 1 bit information, he must need to be go to the memory or RAM, so that that 1 bit information he can get. Without that single bit information, it's not possible that he is going to be do that the current instructions operation. Okay, it can happen. It's not like that it is going to always happen, but yeah, like that think about a doctor is doing an operation with a patient, so the nurses are ready with all of that the required instruments or materials or medicines, with for doing the operation, with everything they are ready. But it can happen sometimes that the doctor is needing asking something that is at this moment is not there. So what is going to be happen? So that is actually it is talking about that CPU is doing an operation, and it happened that for completing that operation he needs single bit information that is not with that the instruction. So that means CPU must stop. The doctor must stop operation until he gets that the equipment, or until that the required things the doctor is not getting. The operation cannot be continued. So similarly, the CPU is also doing the same. The CPU is doing an operation, and he needs a single bit of information that is not there. So that means it must need to be asked to RAM that provide me that instruction. So when he is going to be seeing that the request to the RAM, then CPU is just stand or stall. Okay, he is going to be stand. He is going to be wait. He is not going to be able to continue the operation without of single bit information. So that means the CPU is not going to be do anything until he gets that the single bit information from the RAM. So what does it mean? It means that it may say that it may take that the several picosecond or nanosecond, but that much of picosecond, nanosecond, picosecond, maybe second that you are waiting, the CPU is waiting. By that time, the CPU could do many hundred of works, other works. So we do not like to see into that the computer system that CPU, the processor or CPU is taking rest. we want to see him that he is actually always busy with the works because he is capable to do the more works. So that would here that we always would like to see that CPU is, CPU is not waiting for something. So that is what it is telling that, while you are retrieving from the relatively slow memory, it is talking about that the slow memory means that it is slower. Than our RAM is much more slower than that our processor that we are having. Okay, so that is what it is. Slower memory here we are talking about, that is actually RAM. So that, that the RAM, while the CPU, the CPU is going to be fetch the instructions from the RAM, it is retrieving from the relatively slow memory, that RAM we are talking about, causing the CPU to stand while waiting for the instruction to be returned. So this is for the instruction. The CPU must have to wait because the memory is slow. The request you are going to be sent to him, it's not like that he will be able to send you that the single bit of information immediately. He must need to be find it out or search it out in which location he has that the required bit, and after finding that, he is going to be send it to the CPU. So it is going to be take some time. So that the time is CPU is going to be stalled or stand, and it is going to be the waste of CPU's power, right? Because by the time CPU is not doing anything, he's just simply waiting for the instructions he's looking from the RAM. So that is what it is telling that, this problem that the slow memory you are talking about, this problem that, okay, while the CPU cannot continue the operation for a single bit, he should not go to the RAM for that single bit of information. That problem can be overcome with that technology, or with that advanced methods like that the caching, the CPU caching. So the cache memory that actually we already have actually learned that what is the cache memory, and also that the pipeline architectures, cache memory architectures and pipeline architectures. With that, the two techniques, the problem here we have seen that the CPU is waiting for a single bit of information, or CPU is just pause down his operation for a single bit. So he does not need to go actually for finding that single bit of information. He does not need to go to that RAM. Instead of that, he can actually get it from the cache memory. That is going to be actually much more faster, as because the cache memory is placed inside the CPU itself. So that is what the pipeline technology, pipeline architecture that we are going to be actually discuss into this lecture number 3. It will come in upcoming slides. Do you understand that? Fetching?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now you are coming to the register. So already we have seen that one of use of the one register here. That is the program counter, right? So what is the register is? So we should have to understand that what is the register is. Actually, when the processor execute the instructions, data is temporarily stored in small local memory locations of 8-bit or 16-bit or 32-bit or 64-bit called the registers. So what does it mean? It means that inside of a CPU, inside of a microprocessor or CPU, we are going to have several registers. That the registers are actually the very small size buffer. You can say them register, you can say them buffer, you can say them RAM, right? So they are going to be under the primary memory. So these are actually very smaller size storage or RAM or the buffer, that where you are going to be save the very the related instructions for an operations. So the registers can be varies from one processor to the another processor. Okay, so that the locations, that the smaller size of the memory, or that the location of the buffer we are talking about, these are the volatile memory, of course, that we say the primary memory, right? So that means that is going to be stored the instructions for a certain amount of time temporarily, right? The operation is going to be finished. That means it is going to be erased. Everything is going to be erased. That means if I am having a doctor for doing the operation, So that execution unit is going to be do that execution, and these are the registers of the nurse. You can think like that. Okay, so I mean, if the doctor is needing something, he can actually ask from that the specific nurse, give me this, give me that. I need this. I need that. So that means there are going to be several nurses beside the doctor, and the doctor is going to be asked the different nurses that, okay, I need this. When he needs something, he's going to be call them, and he's going to be collect that the components or elements that actually he needs to do the operations. So this is what here in the CPU, that when the CPU is dealing with an instruction, with an operation, then these are the registers are there who are actually waiting, who are actually collecting some informations for completing that the operations of that the CPU's execution unit, and these registers are holding some operands, holding some elements, you can think, some instructions, you can think. So if the execution unit requires something, he is going to be asked those registers, okay, give me this or give me that. I need it. I need that. So this is what the registers are going to be there. So you can see here that the registers, are going to be with that 8 or 16 or 32 or 64 bits. Actually, these are going to be very small size of the memory we are going to be have into that the inside of the processor. So there can be the different. Already I said this line that depending on the type of processor, the overall number of registers can vary about 10 to many hundreds. So different processors are having the different sets of registers, and each of the registers have itself a responsibility that, okay, for what purposes that register is going to be inside the processor. So we are not going to be discuss here about the 100 registers, as because this is not a part of this course. Well, you're going to be do that the microprocessor. On that time, you're going to get the detailed information about the registers inside of the processor. And here we are going to be discuss about only that the registers that actually we need to learn or to understand this lecture that at this moment we are handling. So it is started with that the accumulator registers, that is the called CSC register. What it does, it actually stores the result of arithmetic and logical operations. So that we have already said that with the example that 3 plus 5 equals 8. So we say that the execution unit of the processor, this is my CU and this is my ALU. So we have already said that if when that the ALU is going to be get that the instructions from the CU, that he is going to be get the command that add 3 to 5. So we already said that is the execution is going to be now done by that the ALU, the arithmetic logic unit. So this is actually the execution unit. So this execution unit, when he is going to be do this operation 3 plus add, he is going to be do that the addition 3 to 5. He knows the result is going to be 8. So that the 8, the result he got, that the result is going to be first placed into that accumulator register. So that 8 is going to be placed here, and from that place it is going to be delivered to that the RAM. Clear? What is the SSC?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, can you please unmute all of you?
Okay, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Sir.
Okay, mute your microphone, please. Okay, so here, so we have learned it that, okay, what is the accumulator register, the ACC. So that is, that is the reason that what is the reason that the ACC is going to be inside of the processor. That actually we have tried to learn with this example. Yeah, Meera, Afroz, do you want to say something?
No, sir, sir.
Okay, then it is coming that the status register, that is also known as the PSW. the processor status register or processor status word, the PSW. So what the status register? So it is itself telling that what is the status register it is. So it is actually going to be store or hold the status of the different informations. So say that the status register or PSW processor status word holds the system status indicators like carrying bits, like overflow, and so on. So this is what that is the register is going to be keep the status. Okay, it is talking about the carrying digit and overflow. It can be like the status means what? The status means that okay, the operation is successful, the operation is failure, maybe that the buffer is full, right? So when the CPU is doing, when the execution is doing some operations, that I mean there are going to be some different levels of status. There are going to be different types of status. So with that, the status actually all that the operation details is going to be kept. It's like that when you are doing that, when a doctor is doing the operation, right? So he is actually going to be checked. He's going to be some medical reports with him, or maybe he's going to be see an X-ray report, a different related report. Actually, he's going to be look after while he is doing the operation. So one he is going to be done and he's going to be ticked. Okay, that is fine. I have done it. And then the next one I have done, that is ticked. I have done, right? So this way, step by step. So he's going to be do that the job. So he's going to be keep all that the things information that okay, I have done everything or not. I have, I mean, if I am doing an operation, if there are 5 steps, all the 5 steps I have done completely done or not. Is there any problem is there that during the 5 things I have done step by step? So that is the status that the report is going to become that yes, the operation is successful, or yes, that the operation is actually unsuccessful, or yes, there is some problem, there is some complexity. So this is the similarly to that the CPU is going to be happen like that. When I mean it is going to be do with that an instruction operation, there are several status is going to be kept, need to be kept. And that the status is going to be also useful that while the next operation is going to be done, when the next execution is going to be done. So that is what actually that the status register is, the PSW. So yeah, this is here that next it is coming the IR register. This is a very important register. What is it? Contains the current instruction being processed. So we have already talked about that. Okay, I will come to this. First come about that the program counter. I have already said to you that what is the program counter is PC. It is also known as the ordinal counter. Okay, so that the program counter we are having. What does it? What does it? I have already said it contains the address of the next instruction to be processed. So I was explaining here that the PC. So I was talking about that. Okay, if the serial number 1 say that giving that the Viva into the execution unit. So he is actually with his teacher. The Viva is ongoing. So that means in that PC he is going to be keep the instructions that okay, serial number 1 gone. So that means 1 plus 1. So what is going to be result 2? So that means that the next who will come next, serial number 2. He keeps that the address. So this is what I mean the program counter is, that who will come next. Currently operation is going to into that the execution it. So who will come next? That instruction address, that memory location address is going to be kept into that the program counter register. So that is it said that it contains the address of the next instruction to be processed. Okay, so this is my program counter. So now what is that the instruction register? So when it comes to that the PC inside the processor, when it comes to that the PC register, so the one is actually now you say the serial number 1 is actually going to having the Viva with this instructor. Okay, so now that means that the serial number 1 is in the IC. So that the instruction this is that the IR, not IC, the instruction register. So that the instruction register is holding what? Instruction register is holding that the current operation. That means who is inside of that the Viva room currently, serial number 1. So that the IR is keeping that the address that who is actually currently in the Viva room, who is facing the Viva. So that is actually that the serial number 1. IR is going to be the serial number 1. So that is what that I mean IR is keeping the address of the instruction. Sorry, I am keeping that the, yes, right. I am keeping that the memory address, that which instruction at this moment is executing into the ALU or in the execution unit. So that means that if the ALU finishes that the operation of SL1, so that means the next is going to become the serial number 2. So that the 2 first come to the IR. So from IR it is going to be taken to the execution unit. So when he's sending the 2, then it is going to be make the 2 plus 1. So the next serial number is going to be 3. That is going to be the next. So now from the IR that the serial number 2 has been sent to the execution unit, so that the serial number 2 is executing. Okay, so when that operation is going to be, so that means in the IR what we are having, the serial number 2. So now the serial number 2's operation has been done, so it is going to be sent back to the memory, and then now the serial number 3 is going to be sent to that PC2 IR, and from the IR it is going to be sent to the execution unit. Do you understand it? Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we are going to have actually the detailed example. It will come at the end of that lecture. That is quite interesting. But if you understand this, that what the discussions we are having here, on that time it is going to be very easy. That okay, how it is going to be execute the instructions. The CPU is going to be do the operations with the instructions step by step. If you are understanding this, what we are discussing in this moment. So, so we have cleared that. I mean, these are the two most common registers. These two, that PC and IR, it must be to be there inside the processor. So the buffer register. So the buffer register by itself, buffer means here that the memory, right? That what I say, that the buffer means actually that the memory or the storage place, or that the data holding place. So that is the buffer register that we are talking about. Temporarily stores the data from memory. So that the buffer register temporarily store the data from memory word, that the data you are fetching from that the memory to the control unit, right? The instructions you fetch, the 3 plus 5, that it is going to be 3 plus 5 that you are fetching from that from that the RAM, the 3 plus 5 you have fetching, that the instructions that temporarily stores that data from the memory, so that the instructions are going to be stored into that the buffer register. Clear? Until that the operation is being complete. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so there is actually an example. I have placed this example for your understanding that what are the things actually happening that for while the CPU is doing the operations. So you will be able to. So this is my memory. I have considered that the memory, and the memory has 1, 2, and blocks. So each have an address, right? 1 plus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that is an it can be the n plus 1. Every time it can be the n plus 1. So what is getting the previous location with that n plus 1. So 1 plus 1 2, then 2 plus 1 3, the 3 plus 1 4. So this way up to that the n, we are 1 to n, we are having that the locations. So that the white color blocks we are showing empty white color, and blue is actually having that the some instructions into this location. That means it is, say that 3, 4, and 5. So now, so it is my CPU. Inside my CPU, I am having that the different registers that we are trying to show. The first two registers that here, the PC means that the program counter, IR means that the instruction register. Okay, so these are the two most important registers are there. And here we are having that some of the general register. We call them general register 1 to register n. So that is what I mean. We say that I mean it can be have from the 10 to many hundreds. That different register can be there. So the general register can be from 1 to n. So it depends on that the different CPUs, that how many general registers are going to be there. So now what is happening is that into this example, what is happening is that the first the CPU, that means this my control unit is going to be fetch the instructions that we have already learned, that while it is 1, so that means it is the sub instruction is there into the memory. Yes, 1 fetch instructions from the memory. So that's say that the CPU is fetching the instructions from the memory. So that is actually into the PC, right? So execute instruction. So that is going to be take from PC2. So that I'm taking that the instruction A here. Okay. So now that the PC is going to be keep the address of that the 3. So he is going to be saying that instructions A. So that means the address is location 3. So now what the PC is going to be happen? It is going to be increase that 3 plus 1. So that means memory address 4. So now the location of the memory address 4 is going to be kept here. Okay. So that from the IR it is going to become to that the ALU. It is going to be stored the instructions that the instructions it has into that the allocation number 3 that is going to become for execution. So that means currently A is operation A is actually executing. So when it is going to be done, so execute the instruction, get other operands if necessary. That the operands are going to be gettable from these general registers and store the result. So when it is going to be done, then it is going to be sent back to that the memory, and it is going to be stored into a location of that the memory, the result. So now when that the operation has done, then the PC is looking for the address 4. So that the 4, so that the operation name is B. So that the B is going to become from PC to that the IR. So that IR is going to be placed at the address 4, and the operation for operation, the data operation B is going to be sent into execution unit. So when it is going to be executed, that the result is going to be sent to a new location that is going to be stored the result. So when it is done, that the operation B, then it is going to be look for that the who is my next? So 4 plus 1, right? So 4 plus 1. So that the PC was 5, while that the B operation B was happening, and IR was 4. So when that is going to be done, then it is going to be look for that the next is that the memory location is 5, and the operation name is C. So that it is going to PC is going to be sent after doing the B operation. PC is going to be sent that okay the next instruction address is 5. So that is going to be sent to that the IR 5, and it is going to be increase that next address, that is 6. So that IR got the 5. So that the operation, that if it is the operation number C, then it is going to be saying that the instructions to that ALU. Do you understand that how it is actually happening? That one by one instruction is coming from memory, and the execution is going to be happen by using the registers, different set of registers. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now you are having this. Then you are coming to that. So this is how that actually we are finishing here the discussion of teaching. Okay, I think that we have spent enough time. Look that for the 3 slides here, we have taken at least we are having the 40 minutes discussions. About 40 minutes we are doing the discussions for fetching. I hope that this part is very much clear to you. Okay, do you have any confusion into the fetching?
No, sir.
No, sir.
No, sir.
That's great. That's great.
No, sir.
Okay. So now we are going to be moved to the decode, right? So we know that is the second stage for the instruction cycle, the decode. So if you're going to the decode, it is saying that the decode in this stage, CPU determines what the CPU will do with the fetching instructions, right? We have already actually said into that the basic instruction cycle that okay, that the CPU, the control unit is fetching the instructions from the memory. So if it is getting some instructions from the memory, say that 3 plus 5. So we understand it that okay, 3 plus 5 means that we are looking for an addition job. 3 plus 5 equals what? So when that the instruction has been fetched from that the memory to that the CU, the control unit, actually the control that of course that is going to be that the ASCII code, the binary digits. So the control unit is going to be get this with that the binary digits, the ASCII codes. So when the control unit get this, so control unit understand also like us that okay, this is going to be an addition job, but the execution unit, my ALU, does not simply understand okay, what does 3 plus 5 means. So the ALU, the execution unit, is going to be know that it is going to be know only that the machine language that like add 3 to 5. So that I mean if he is getting that getting the instructions like that, a command like that, then he only understand that okay, I have to do the addition operation, or I have to apply the addition formula to get the result. What is 3 plus 5 equals 8. So that is the fact here. The decode, the CPU determines what the CPU will do with the fetching instructions. So with that, the decoding part, that the control unit is basically are going to be translate or decode the instructions that actually it is receiving or it is taking from the RAM. So this is what it's saying, that what the CPU, that means here CPU will do. So what the CPU will do with the fetching instruction, more specifically if you want to tell, then actually this is going to be the ALU. That is going to be the ALU. So that is the arithmetic logic unit. Why? Look, that is saying in this step CPU determines what the CPU will do with the fetching instructions. So exactly when it is coming to the processor, into the control unit, it suggests that it is going to be go to the ALU for having some operations. It is going to be ALU means the execution unit. Remember that it has the several name, the execution unit, arithmetic logic unit, so that in the execution unit it will go. So that we can say here itself that in this step CPU determines what the ALU will do with the fetching instructions. So that means it must need to be get ready, or it must need to be decode the instructions that it has been received from the RAM. So it must need to be decode the instructions into the CU before sending it to the ALU. So that who is going to be do this job? That I mean the translating, that the control unit. So that is, it is telling that decoding performed by the circuitry known as the instruction decoder. That is known as instruction decoder. The decoding performed by the circuitry known as the instruction decoder. So that the instruction decoder is going to be translate that. We are telling that the control unit, but there is an instruction decoder into that the control unit we are going to be have, who is actually going to be translate, do that the translation job, or do that the decoding job. So that is what actually it is telling, the decoding performed by the circuitry known as the instruction decoder. Okay, the instruction is converted into signals that control other parts of the CPU. So that is what the conversion is going to be done. The signal conversion is going to be done with the instruction decoder. So we are going to be we are going to be look after that the instruction decoder, how it is going to be deal with the instructions in detail into the upcoming lecture. Okay, so yeah, how to solve this? I mean, how to solve this problem? I don't understand that. Every class I am actually I'm informing the students of this class. Every class it is happening that the students number is reducing significantly. Okay, how to overcome this problem? I do not understand actually why that the students are behaving like the kids. All right, to look at the class student was about 33 or 30. I think 6 students are absent. So that means there are 38 students into the class. Now it is 27, including me. It is 28 now. So that means 10 students already leave the class without taking any permissions. Okay, so they are coming. They are. When they'll come, when they'll go, when they leave. It's actually they're deciding. They are not caring anything. They're not serious at all. They're thinking that the classroom is the mama worry. So I want to go. I'm going today. I want to leave. I'm leaving today. So the mentality of those students, it's really poor. I do not know how to solve this. I think that this semester I'm going to be very harsh on the answer script. Okay, if I'm finding that anybody is not writing accurate answers, I'm going to be punish them like anything. And also I'm going to be check those students I'm listing. Actually, I'm not able to list all the 10 students they are at this moment not in the class. But I'm seeing some of them are leaving, that their name is showing on the screen. Okay, so I'm listing them, as well as that I'm going to be very much, line by line, word by word. This time I'm going to be checking the answer script to understand that what you understand the level is. So I do not know that how to solve this situation. Every class this is happening. And this like this section, I did not have find any other courses or any other sections like this. That much of, that much of regularity. They are only serious about to get the attendance, nothing else. The attendance time only 6 students, 5 students, 4 students are absent. But if the 30 minutes of class finish, the rest of the 10 students are leaving without taking any permissions. If you're asking them, they are going to give you the 100 excuses. Sir, my internet connection problem. Sir, I was in hospital. Sir, my relative died. Sir, I got an accident. You'll see that 100, sir, electricity gone. So 100 of excuses. I do not understand that what those students actually going to be achieve in their life. I mean, I'm really, unhappy with these activities that is happening in this class. Please, if you have that your messenger group, please, every class I am wasting some time for these discussions that why those students are not staying in the class. So whatever the things you're listening, that share into your messenger group. That's how sir is getting really angry, and sir is actually marking those students who are leaving the class without taking the permission. Please, you should need to be corrected. Otherwise, I must have to report to the department and to the university that the students are not coming to the class and not staying into the class. They're leaving the class without taking permission every day. And if I'm reporting, then maybe that the university is going to be take the harsh decision about the students. Maybe you are going to be suspended for a semester. Before continuing, I think that this is not the only course. Those 10 students are doing this. They're doing it with the every class. So if they are marked by the university, then definitely they're going to be suspended. Until that the university open, they are not going to be called for registering the course. So also I think it must need to be also inform their parents that that your son or your daughter is not coming to the class, and they are coming and they are leaving within 5 minutes from the class. That is also one of the fact that is going to be that can be done. On that time, your parents are going to be stop giving the money to you for registering into the semester. I don't understand that how to actually reach to you, and to make you understand that the things we are doing here is very, very important for your future. It's very, very important for your life. I do not have any benefit. You're coming to the class or you're not coming to the class, you are studying or not studying. I don't have any benefit with that. I'm doing my job. I'll come to the class, I'll take your class, I'll check your scripts. That is my job. I'm going to be do it. So I do not need to be look after those things that you're coming to the class or you're coming to the you're studying, you're trying, you're learning. That I do not need. But why I am every class I am mentioning this? Why I am wasting my time? Our time we are wasting. Why? What is the necessity behind it? The necessity is that I would like to see that actually you are serious about your life. It is only for your benefit that I am talking about. It's not my benefit. That if you're coming to the class, if you're there staying there, if you're listening me, if you're not listening me, it's up to you. You're going to be decide that. But I would like to reach to you. I'm trying to informing you that please come to the class, stay there, listen the lectures, collect the information, study, learn. That is going to be useful in the future. But I can see that some of the students don't care that what their instructors are telling, and also maybe because of these things, the students dislike me as well. They think that sir is very hard. Sir is actually want to make sure that every students are going to be there, every students are studying. So it is for my benefit. If I am harsh on you, if I am giving you the very harsh words, if I am going to be very giving the punishment to you, is it going to be that some sort of benefits I'm going to be? It is going to be there with me? I don't think so. I don't think so that there is any benefit of mine that I am shouting on you, or I want to make sure that you are studying or not. I don't have any benefit with that. Whatever that whatever I'm telling, what I am trying to do, that is only for actually your future, only for you.